All right, Shabbos, good evening, good evening. Let us begin continuing in our beautiful, beautiful Gemara tonight on Daf Yud Zayin in Maseches Berachos. We left off Mar Braid Ravina, right? Oh, we did Elokai Nitzar?
No, before that. So we were getting to the
First wide line? First wide line?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So Rava, Basar Tzilis Yamarachi. So Rava, when we finish Chevra, I strongly recommend the tea tonight. Excellent. Or you could have some of Chaim's Dr. Diet Pepper. Just don't drink from the bottom, by the way. Use a cup in case anyone else. All right, so the rest says as follows. Rava Basar Tzilis Yamarachi. So Rava, when he would finish going ahead and davening Shemona Esrei, ultimately again he would say the following tefillah: Elokai, Ad Shalom Natzarti Eini Kedai. HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Before I was created, I wasn't kedai, I wasn't worthy. Va'achshav shenotzarti ki lo notzarti. And now that I've been created, it's as if I haven't been created. So both say this is a very overwhelming statement. So remember again, this reflects the general idea of noach lo la'adam shelo nivra. That it would have been better for a person to have never been created. Gemara Masechah Shabbos, right? So better for a person to have never been created. So Rava went ahead and said, Yibron Shalom, you know what? Before I was created, I wasn't worthy. And now that I've been created, it would have been better had I never been created. It was a very overwhelming statement. Afar ani b'chayai, I am dust during my lifetime. Kavachomer misasyo, all the more so how I actually become dust after I die. Hari ani lefanecha, kichli malibusho chlima. I stand before you like a utensil filled with embarrassment and degradation. That I shouldn't sin anymore. And whatever I have sinned, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please erase with your infinite compassion, right, with your great compassion. But please don't erase my sins, ultimately again through suffering, through difficulties, or through sickness. And the Gemara says, by the way, this was also known as the vidui. This was the confession of Rav Hamnuna Zuti. So we'll say if this looks familiar, right? It should look familiar because we say this at the end of Shemona Esrei and Yamim Noraim. Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. We add, there are different nuschos, but this nusach is almost identical to what we say Yom Noraim. So we'll say it's overwhelming, right? That Rava would say this every day. It's heavy. It's very heavy, right? So it seems to again, and what's interesting, and I don't know the answer to, but I don't know historically, kind of like when these different tefillos were placed in different places. Like we saw yesterday, Berachos HaChodesh. So remember again, all of these things began at the end of Shemona Esrei. So when it became Berachos, I don't know when was this appended to the Shemona Esrei Yamim Noraim? I don't know, but powerful tefillos. So one goes weiter. Mar Braid Ravina, Kevin Mesayim Tzalu, say Amar Hachi. So Mar Braid Ravina, when he would finish Shemona Esrei, he would say as follows: Elokai Nitzor L'Shinomera. Kadosh Baruch Hu, please prevent my lips from speaking evil. Usfasai Midaber Mirma. And go ahead and prevent my lips from speaking deceitfully. V'lim kalalai nafshiti dom. Let my soul be silent to all those who curse me. I will say, now what does it mean? Let my soul be silent to all those who curse me. Pasha Pshat is, let me find the restraint not to respond. Wow. Right? What a car. What's it, right? Even when people say things that I don't like, give me the strength. When people curse me. Let my soul be silent. I should find self-restraint. I will say sometimes it's very validating that great people have the same struggles as we regular people, right? Because a lot of us struggle with restraint also, especially in the age of instant communication, right? How often have we gotten ourselves in trouble? Somebody says something, you respond back, and even on WhatsApp where you could erase it afterwards. Sometimes saying that deleted message also is incriminating, right? When someone knows that something's been deleted, what did you delete? So interestingly enough, this idea of restraint. This Baruch Hu, give me the koach not to respond. The nafshi ka'afar la'kol tihiyah. And literally again, let my soul be dust. Everyone knows both say humility. Let me be a humble person. Psachli b'sarasecha. Open my heart with your Torah. Over mitzvosecha terdof nafshi. And ultimately again, my soul will run after your mitzvos. V'satzileni mi pegara umi yitzhara. Kadosh Baruch Hu, please save me from pegara. Save me from evil encounters. Save me from the yitzhara. Umi ishara. Save me from an evil woman. Umi kol ro'os chamisrakshos lavo la'olam. And save me from all of the evil happenings, all the potential evil things that could unfold in this world. V'chalachoshvim alai ra'ah. Whoever plots, whoever thinks to do evil to me, mehira hafer atzasam, v'kalkal machshavosam. Kadosh Baruch Hu, quickly, right, annul their counsel, and ultimately, again, destroy or mess up their thoughts. Yulu ratzonim refi, v'hagyomli bi lefanecha Hashem tzvi v'gali. So literally, again, the words, the utterances of my mouth should be in accordance with your will. V'hagyomli bi, and ultimately, again, the thoughts of my heart should always be before you. Hashem tzuri v'gali. Hashem is my rock and my redeemer. So we'll say, here it is. Right, that's it. That's our Elokain Tzar. With, of course, what we have, we don't have the Pegara, Yetzirah, or Ishara, right? We do have that phrase removed, although interestingly enough, Ishara doesn't really appear anywhere in davening, but ultimately, again, the Yetzirah and Pegara occur. We see that earlier on in the Yiratzon after Berachos HaShachar. Okay, so we'll say it's really beautiful. Rav Sheshes. So we'll say, so again, that's the end of the sugya of post Shmona Esrei Tefillah. So we'll say, it's just, to me, I always get very excited by these things. And I don't really get out much anyway. But I'm saying, I always get very excited by these when you see also like the makar for things, right? That here you see almost every single one of these beautiful tefillos, even though they all started out in Shmona Esrei, or at the end of Shmona Esrei. Again, we only use Elokain Tzar, but every single one of these tefillos kind of found their place, right? Landed somewhere in our liturgy, which is incredibly beautiful. Let's go back to Rav Sheshes. So Rav Sheshes, when he was fasting, Basar Dematzli Amar Hachi. So when Rav Sheshes would daven, he would add in the following: Ribono Olamim, Master of the Universe. It's clear, it's obvious, right? It's revealed before you. When the Beis Hamikdash stood, Adam chote makriv carbon. So ultimately, again, if a person sinned, what did you do if you sinned? You brought a carbon. Ve'in makrivim mimeno ela chelbo v'damo u'miskaper lo. We'll say, now remember again, what do you place when you offer up a carbon? So what has to go on the mizbeach? So we'll say, remember again, the most important part of the carbon is the sprinkling of the blood application. Zrika, and the burning of the fats, forbidden fats. That's the ikr. So again, Beis Hamikdash stood, you come in Aveira, you went ahead and you offered up a carbon, and what did you burn on the Mizbeach? Fats and blood. Put a blood, right? Va'achshav, yashavti betanios. Now again, I fasted. V'nisma'it chalbi v'dami. We'll say, now when you fast, what happens? So you burn off some of your body fat, so to speak, and your blood is diminished. The idea being that here I fasted, there's less of me. If should be your well HaKadosh Baruch Hu sheyehei chelbi v'dami shenisma'it kilo hikraftiv lefanecha gabe hamizbeach v'tirtzeni. So beautiful. That is, we'll say, the diminished fat, so to speak, and the diminished blood that's a result of this fasting should be as if I put it on the mizbeach and should affect kapara on my behalf. I will say it's beautiful. I'll just point out, in general, what's really fascinating to note is the least impactful part of the fast day is not eating and drinking, right? We often make this mistake that we think the ikr of the fast, except for Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur, the ikr of the fast ultimately is abstaining from eating and drinking. But generally, the avod of a fast day is supposed to spark tshuva. That's what a fast day is all about tshuva. So it's so beautiful that here, Rav Sheshes is saying that sometimes, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, even with a fast day, I just don't get my act together. A lot of times in life, I just don't get my act together, and I'm just not doing the things I have to do. I haven't initiated a process of tshuva. But even if I haven't initiated a process of tshuva, Kadosh Baruch Hu, I fasted. There's less of me as a result of this fast. That diminution should be counted like a carbon. Such a beautiful way to look at a fast day. Okay, Rabbi Yonasan, we'll say a beautiful Gemara. Rabbi Yochanan. Ki have a Messiah Sifra. When Rabbi Yochanan would finish learning, right? He finished Sifra, and I will say, remember again, Sifra de Eov. When he would finish the Sefer Eov, he would say the following. We'll see why dafka after Sefer Eov. Amar Hachi, Sof Adam Lamos, the Sof Peim L'Shchita. Man is destined to die. An animal is destined to slaughter. Bottom line, V'hakol Lemisa Heim Omdin. Right, this wasn't the siyum you wanted to get invited to, by the way, right? This was not, right? So what happened? So this was, and again, I will say, you can understand, it makes sense why this is at the end of Eov. Eov is a heavy sefer. So, Rabbi Yochanan would say, at the end of the day, everything dies. Everything dies. I would say, it's interesting. I remember, this was like we used to, years ago, my family, we used to vacation in New Hampshire. And they're like in the White Mountains. And if you ever, it's not a dafka, it's not a din in New Hampshire, it's a din in mountains. What's the most overwhelming thing about mountains? Most overwhelming thing about mountains is they were here long before me, and they will be here long after me. Nothing is more humbling than realizing that an inanimate object preceded you and outlived you. Right? We often think that we are the center of the universe. But the truth is, our lives are so short within the great continuum of the universe. It's humbling, right? The mountain was here thousands of years before, and will probably be here thousands of years after me. Right? Of course, the big difference is I have the ability to affect change. The mountain does not. So again, Rabbi Yochanan would say everything ultimately dies. Ashrei misha gadol batorah. Well, isn't that beautiful this is? Praiseworthy is the person who grew in his Torah, va'amala b'Torah, and he toiled in Torah, va'osen nachas ruach liotzra, and he gives Hakadosh Baruch Hu nachas. We'll say, isn't this incredible? What's the goal in life? The goal in life is growth. I should never be the same person today that I was yesterday. Amelos. We'll say, if you want to grow in spirituality, it requires, we'll say, there are no life hacks for growth in spirituality. There's no shortcuts. There's not an app. Right? In order to go ahead and grow in ruchnius, a person has to toil. And the goal, give nachas to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The gadol b'shem tov, and a person grew, and ultimately grew into a good name. V'niftar b'shem tov min ha'olam. And when he left this, I say, sometimes in life, it's hard to acquire a good name, and you know what else is hard? Maintaining your good name. Right? So we say, praiseworthy is the person who acquires a good name and is able to maintain it until he leaves this world. About such a person, Shlomo Melech said, Tov shem mishem and tov. Literally, a good name is better than good oil. V'yom hamaves miyom hivaldo. And the day of your death, ultimately, again, is better than the day that you were born. So there's much. So again, I will say, what does this have to do with Eov? In other words, what's the connection here between this and Eov? So of course, the simple pshat may be that it's talking about death. Rashi actually points out that's not what it is. Eov was a person who left this world with a shem tov. He left with a good name. So interestingly enough, that's really the whole essence of what's unfolding over here, the ability to live a life. I will say, think these Gemaras are gold, right? What's the goal? Learn in Torah, toil in Torah, give nachas to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, acquire a good name, but make sure to maintain that good name. It's so incredible. Margala b'pumim Rabbi Meir. So I will say there was Margala b'pumim means there was like a jewel in the mouth of Rabbi Meir. In other words, Rabbi Meir used to say something that was gold. It was so beautiful. What did he say? B'chol gemar, b'chol levavcha, b'chol nafshecha, ladas esterachai, v'lishkot al dalte torasi, al dalte torasi. So let's listen to this. What did Rabbi Meir used to say? Rabbi Meir used to say, learn with all of your heart and all of your soul to know my ways. Apply yourself. So I will say, sometimes part of the challenge we have in Ruchnios is we're not all in. Right? Now, I want to be clear. All in doesn't mean being perfect. But all in also means it's like anything in life. I'm committed to something, but being committed doesn't mean I'm going to be perfect. Being committed just means I'm really going to try to expend maximum effort. The problem we often run into our spirituality is, if we're honest, we have a great love and appetite and desire to dabble. I love to dabble, right? I'll do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But that's not where growth comes from. And that's not where success comes from. Right? I used to say, Gomer, learn. Right? Grow in your b'chol levavcha or b'chol nafshecha ladas esterachai. Are you all in? Am I all into Yiddishkeit? Am I all in with all of my heart? Again, it doesn't mean I'm perfect. I make many, many mistakes. But Lamais, you ask me where my commitment is? My commitment is absolutely all in. V'lishkod al daltei torasi. And literally, again, I should plant myself by the doors of Torah. In other words, embed yourself in a lifestyle that is conducive to spiritual growth. That's what I was saying. In other words, if my Torah is when I'm in the base medrash, I'm in front of a sefer, but my lifestyle doesn't reflect those values, then there's no hope for growth, because it's my lifestyle that ultimately nourishes all the Torah learning that I have. So you have to plant yourself by the doors of Torah. So it goes on, Nitzar Torasi b'libecha, literally guard my Torah in my heart. V'neged einecha tia yirasi. And ultimately, again, I should have the reverence or the fear of HaKadosh Baruch Hu before me at all times. In other words, I should live in this constant state of God awareness. Shmar picha mikol chet. Guard your mouth from any sin. V'taher v'kadesh atzmecha b'chol ashma. And literally purify and sanctify yourself and avoid all sin. Ashra v'avon. V'ani eyeh imcha b'chol makom. And if you do all of this, Chakadosh Baruch Hu says, I'll be with you at all times. I was about to say, this is the famous Katzker. You know, the Katzker says, somebody, right? People ask, where is HaKadosh Baruch Hu? And the Katzker answered, wherever you let him in. In other words, I will say, the problem is not HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Rebbe Shalom wants to be with us. You know, Chazal give the mashal that more than the baby wants to nurse, the mother wants to express the milk. Chakadosh Baruch Hu is the mother, we're the baby. So we want bracha, we want tevekus, we want connection. More than we want it, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants it. But I just have to make myself a kli, I have to make myself a utensil that is capable of having this relationship. And so here, Rabbi Meir is telling you, what do you need to do? You need to go ahead and be all in. You need to embed yourself in a lifestyle that is conducive of growth. You have to watch what you talk about. And you have to go ahead and be committed to ultimately purging yourself from sin. If you're able to do these things, all in with commitment, then ultimately HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I'll be with you every step of the way. Incredible. Both says one more piece. Margala b'pumay d'Rabbanan d'Yavna. Both says beautiful Gemara. There was a jewel in the house of the rabbis of Yavna. What did they used to say? They said as follows: Ani beria v'chaveri beria. You know, I am a creation and my friend is a creation. First wide line, the widest lines. Ani malachti be'ir. I will say the rabbis of Yavna were comparing themselves to the workers, right? To the agricultural workers. So, right, I the Talmud Chacham, right? I the Talmud Chacham am a creation of Hashem, and my friend, the agricultural worker, is also a creation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. My work is in the city. The city is a reference to the base medrash, and his work is in the field. Ani mashkin l'malachti v'hu mashkin l'malachto. Ultimately, again, I wake up to go to work in the morning. Talmud Chacham says, "Where's my work? My office." My office is the base medrash, and ultimately, again, he gets up to go to work in the field. Kishem shehu eno miskader b'malachti, kach ani eno miskader b'malachto. And the same way, ultimately, again, that he doesn't encroach on my work. In other words, he has his lane. He doesn't try to encroach on my work. I don't try to encroach on his work. We have our separate lanes. Here we go. B'shem tomar ani marbe v'hu mamit. But maybe you'll say, the Talmud Chacham, I'm certainly better than the farm worker. Why? I learned so much more Torah. Right? I learn Torah 11 hours a day, and he learns Torah 20 minutes at night when he comes home. So of course I'm greater. It's not true. Shaninu, echad hamar ve'echad hamamit, o bilvat she'echavin li b'lashem. I will say we've learned that whether you learn a lot or whether you learn a little, the ikar is not the quantity. The ikar is the quality. And as long as ultimately, again, your learning of Torah is there for the sole purpose of creating a relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, of ultimately giving nachas to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, whether you do a lot or whether you do a little, at the end of the day, you are just as great. And I will say, this is one of the most important Gemaras we have in all of Yiddishkeit. Because this Gemara is really at the core, we are not an elitist religion, or at least we're not supposed to be an elitist religion. In other words, we don't have this concept that people who learn all the time are better than people who don't. We have this recognition that there are many different roles and responsibilities within Klal Yisrael. And if everybody did the same thing, we'd be in big trouble as a nation. So there are going to be people in the base medrash, there are going to be Talmidei Chachamim, and there are going to be farmers. And as long as the Talmud Chacham is striving to be the best Talmud Chacham, and the farmer is striving to be the best Jewish, from Toradic farmer, then they are both just as great. We'll say, is that not incredible? Because sometimes consciously, subconsciously, we think that, if I'm not the guy in the base medrash, he's the holy one, right? How many times that's for the rabbis. That's for the rabbis, right? Again, there's only one Torah. It's the same Torah for everybody. There's nothing that's just for the rabbis, nothing, right? In other words, we'll say we're all the same. And now we all have the same potential for greatness. We just actualize it in different ways. So if I'm a balabas, I have a job, I do my day job, but I do my day job with honesty and integrity, and I make a Kiddush Hashem in every single thing that I do, and I carve out time to learn, and I'm serious about that learning, and that learning is the focus of my day. That's what I want to get to. And I give tzedakah, and I do chesed, and I care about Klal Yisrael, and I daven with a minyan, and I do all those different things that I'm supposed to do. I'm just as great as that person sitting in the base medrash the whole day, even though he learned 11 hours and I learned 25 minutes. If I'm fulfilling my role in the particular role, in the particular lane that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has for me, as long as I'm executing dutifully and in a committed fashion, I am just as great as someone whose life is fully devoted to spirituality. All right, well, so we'll stop over for tonight. Overwhelming, incredible Gemara. And Meretz Hashem to be continued on Monday. We should really do Sundays.